Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Miss Crochet and Coffee here, and today we have another show and tell from Arteza. Now, you guys know that I am an affiliate with Arteza, so any links provided for this product will be down in the description box and will earn me a small commission. So I do greatly thank you in advance if you decide to use that link. Also, do keep in mind that my code does change every month. So this month's code is Crochet and Coffee 5. So with that code, you can save yourself 10% off of your next purchase. So happy shopping. But with that said, let's get into these color pencils. I've been so excited to show you guys these pencils. I just got them in. So when you open it up, and it is in their really nice tin. I love the artwork on the tin. It tells you there's 120 pencils. They're 4.4 millimeter lead, and they're break resistant. They're blendable, water soluble, acid free, all that fun jazz. So when you open it up, on the inside of the lid, it gives you more of the information like the colors that are included and the light fast. The light fast essentially is how prone it is to fading. So the more pluses means that it's fair to light fast. The less plus marks means it's better at light fast, meaning it won't fade as bad. So with that said, I think that's correct. If it's not, I'm sorry. So it has this little protective sheet on top here, but here you are. Oh my God. And there's something about the smell of color pencils, you guys. And these don't actually have a really pungent smell like some color pencils do. So that's always a plus because you don't want to get bombarded with like, you know, smell of color pencils. Some people really like it. Some people don't, just saying. So here's our first set here. And if I remember correctly from the 120 set of color pencils, I will, of course, have that linked up in the eye. These actually have 5 of these little cases. Now, I do wish that they would add something to the sides or something here to make it easier to pull them in and out so you're not feeling like you're going to drop them. So we're going to try to pull all of these out. And I believe there's 5 of these little trays in here. So let's see if we can get them all in shot here. Sorry if that noise is making you go nuts, but I want to make sure you guys can see all of the color pencil goodness. So we're just going to move you over here a little bit. So here are all 5 of the color palette things that come in the case. So you have grays, purples, I see gold and copper. So when you pick up the color pencil, it tells you the color pencil's name, has a number, and the light fast, which are the 3+ symbols on there. So that is awesome. It does hold like a regular pencil. Like it makes me feel like I'm holding a number 2 pencil, so it's not super big. They seem to be about this, maybe a little bit bigger than their 72 set color pencils, but I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've touched them. But these are really, really nice color pencils. I also like the fact that when they send you out color pencils, the leads aren't sharp. They're actually dulled down, and you can sharpen them yourself. So that's always a plus with me because then I don't have to worry about the leads breaking off and making a mess in there. Now, these are watercolors. So what does that mean? Meaning you can activate these with water. So you see here how it has a little paintbrush. That means that you can use this essentially somewhat like paint. And I'll show you an example here in a few minutes. And this one is lavender. Has the light fast, has the number. Love, love, love that. I love the sleekness and design of these. You got to focus on the pencil, folks. So I love the sleek design of it. It is awesome. I love this gold. Like it's shimmering like in my face here, so I can't help but look at it. And of course, yes, it's gold. 2 light fast, A122. And then an Arteza Expert, and it has that little paintbrush on it. So that's really, really cool. So I'm going to put these back in the box here. But before I do, let's look. So you have your dark grays, your medium grays, your gold, your silver, your copper, your purples. Then you have a lighter shade of gray, your tans and yellowish peach colors going into your cream. Then you have blues and greens. And then up here you have a couple more purples, some more greens, blues, pinks, reds into browns, dark chocolate browns. You got some more browns down this way. You're getting into your reds, pinks, yellows, greens, blues, and your, I think this is black. And then you have like your tans, some more reds, pink. You have apricot here. You have yellows, greens, blues, the works. So you have a wide range variety of colors in this set. So let's put them back in their box real quick. All right, so I pulled out my Arteza mixed media pad, and we're gonna test out some of the color pencils just so you guys can see what they can do. So let's find a blank sheet here. I'm going to push this over so you can see it. I do love the tin that they come in. It's really, really nice. All right, let's get all adjusted here. Now, I pulled out this. This is called a water pen. Essentially, you add water to it. And usually the threads on these are reversed. So if you're getting a water pen, just know a lot of the times the threads are reversed. So a lot of people would go to turn them right, and essentially that's tightening it. So if you turn it to the left, you can then add water inside of the pen. And they work great with watercolor pencils. And as you can see, I've already used it before. So let's see. We're going to try to blend a couple of colors. So let's go with these two colors. So I have sea blue and parakeet green. So we're going to go real hard. I'm going to apply heavy pressure and then go down into lighter pressure. And I'm going to do the same with the parakeet. So let's say we draw a little box here. And we're going to do heavy pressure here. And then we're going to loosen it up a little bit. It doesn't matter if we go outside the box. So then what I'm going to do, heavy, medium, and then very light. And then what you can do because these are water soluble, or you can paint with them. Now, like paint, to color on top of this, you're going to want to wait. You're going to want to give it some time to dry before you try to color on top of it. Now, there are many different ways you can use watercolor pencils. You can use it like this, where you do it on paper. Or you can essentially use a paintbrush and use the paintbrush to scoop up some of the color from the actual lead and then put it down. And see how I already had blue on there, so it did blend really nice. So then what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing with this one. So heavy, medium, and then light. And then you just take your water pen. I just squeeze it a little bit to get some water out. So you can use these like paint. And of course you would want to use the heavier version of doing this. Like, you would want to use a lot of pressure to get enough of it to make it do the paint. So let's see if we can get these to blend together. So We're going to actually use a different color than the green. We're going to use, say, this turmeric yellow. So we're going to do the blue. And then right in the center of the blue, we're going to put that yellow. And I'm just using medium pressure because I want to see how well it will blend. And then I'm going to go back over top of it because I want a nice rich blend so you guys can see this. And as you can see, it's already blending there. And I'm going to clean off my brush here a little bit. There we go. And then we're just going to go off to the side here. So we have blue, green, and then that green is going to go down here into this turmeric yellow. You can also, of course, use paintbrush on this as well if you would rather use a paintbrush than a water pen. This is just for showing you guys how this works. Let's get some of that muddy yellow out of there. So as you can see, it did blend really nice there. To make that green. All right, so how do you do this on paper? So say you want to do a coloring sheet. So we're gonna flip that and let it dry. And as you can see, hold on, I'll show you because I don't think you can see it. This is the back of that page, and you can see the wet marks, but it's not wet on this side. The water doesn't come through. And as you can see, it left a mark there on the front page, which is just fine. And before we turn it over and try to color on a coloring page, I am going to show you that you can color on top of it. So I'm going to take this emerald green, and this part has dried. So they dry fast. So now you can color on top of it. And look at there. And then if you want to say blend those together, you just reactivate it with water. Get that green tone in there. Yes, I love this. All right, so we're going to try this on a picture. I want to color a picture. I wanted to find something that didn't have a whole lot of detail in it because I don't want to keep you guys here forever. I just wanted to show you how awesome these new pencils are. So here we go. I picked out a Molly Harrison image. This is a printable on Etsy. So what we're going to do is we're going to color this little mermaid girl here. As you can see, she has a little balloon. I'll probably talk to you for most of it, and then maybe I'll do a time lapse. We'll see how time goes. So what we're going to do is for her balloon, and I'm just going to use the colors that I have here. I'm not going to go through the entire box and try to figure out colors or anything like that. I'm just going to go through the colors I have here. So let's see. So we're going to use blood orange and crimson red for her balloon. And again, if you need to sharpen these, you can sharpen them. I'm using my Power Me electric sharpener. Just to sharpen them to a point. And then what I'm going to do here, and you can color with these like regular color pencils as well. You don't necessarily have to add the water to it to activate it. You can just use them as regular color pencils if you want. then we're just going to scribble a little bit of that color in there. And then we're going to use some of this blood orange. Sorry, I have to put my pencil sharpener back. To fill in the rest of this. So on the darker areas, I use the dark red, and then on the lighter areas, I use the blood orange. And just make sure my watercolor pen here is cleaned off. I'm just gonna take a napkin and essentially get the pen wet and then just wipe it on the napkin. There we go. And then we're just gonna squeeze it. And when you squeeze the watercolor pen, the water comes out right where the brush is. You don't want it too wet. And I'm just gonna move that color along there so it blends nicer. Smooth it out a little bit. Kind of like using a blender, a colorless blender with like your color pencils like Gamsol. Except for with this, you can use just water. We're just going to smooth this out a little bit. Ooh, I love how that turned out. All right. So you have little highlights in that balloon. So now let's go for her fin. For her fin and her tail, we're going to use these three colors. So we're going to go lime green, matcha green, and parakeet green. So of course, for the darker spots, we're going to use the darker color, and then the light will get lighter as we go. So on the light or the darker spots, we're just going to kind of highlight some of the sides here. And even though her fin is underwater, we'll still give it some shading. And this is a grayscale image that I purchased off Etsy. Again, I will try to link it down below if I can find it. And then we're going to take the medium tone. To get her scales. And of course, because they're color pencils, they are blendable. So you can blend that tone together. And again, you don't have to use the water. You can use just straight color pencil. I'm going to do a little bit more shading over here. And then you guessed it, for the light tone, we're going to go right here in the center. and on the outer edge here. And I'm just using medium pressure. Well, hello, Killian. If you're new to my channel, that's my dog. He likes to sit on the couch with me when I do stuff. So we're just gonna fill in the light tone here with this light tone. And this is a lime green. Now I'm gonna go in and blend it with this medium tone. I'm gonna blend them all together. Again, just using medium pressure. If you really want to, you can go and accent some of these scales. I don't want to do too many of them. Maybe close to where the highlights are for the shadowing. Kind of makes them pop out a little bit more. And then take the light tone again, and we're gonna just blend the light tone in with all of that. Now keep in mind, I am not a professional colorist. I am still in the learning phase. This is probably like the third or fourth time I've ever used watercolor pencils. Essentially, I'm just using them as like a regular color pencil. And then whenever I want to, say, blend the color together, I'll get my water brush pen here. Make sure it's cleaned off. And then I'll use that to blend those colors together nicely. And see how it smooths that color out? And just like with painting, you want to go in one direction. So try not to go like back and forth, try to go in one direction. There we go. So we got her fin done. So let's do her seashells. Her seashells, we're gonna make those the stars. We're gonna make them a jasmine yellow. So we got our jasmine yellow here. For a little shading, we'll go ahead and use a turmeric yellow as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do a little accenting around these little lines here. Same thing on this side. And then I'm just gonna take the jasmine yellow and blend that together. You guys, these pencils are so smooth. So smooth. They blend like butter. So write down in the comments if you've gotten this far and you're able to, to hear me still talking. Have you ever used watercolor? Do you like using watercolor? What is your favorite thing to use watercolor on? Answer at least one of those. You don't have to answer all of them. If you don't want to, that's fine. And again, I'm just going to go back and make sure I can see those darker lines a bit better. Kind of give it a little bit of depth on the shells there. trying to decide for her skin tone. For her skin tone, I think we're going to use ginger color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my garnet red. And I'm going to do some shading with the garnet red. And with grayscale, you don't necessarily have to do shading. But I'm still learning again, so I try to do shading as much as possible if I can. I'm going to shade a little bit here underneath her head. Then we're going to shade around her necklace. Alright, so we got her skin tone there. And again, you don't have to use the watercolor pen, but it's just fun to use. So I'm going to grab my watercolor pen. I'm going to add some water to it. Again, I don't want to add too much. It's a small space, so you don't need too much water. So I'm just going to blend this color to smooth it out a little bit. And I will, of course, have the paper that I'm using as well listed down below, because I did get asked in one of my previous videos about what paper do I use to print on. It's paper, it's cardstock that I found on Amazon, so that if I need to order more, it's easily accessible to me, and I don't have to like jump through hoops of a website or anything. Even though Amazon is technically a website, but you know what I mean. So, and I have a little puddle of water down here on the mixed media pad that I'm using to just get enough water on the water brush pen to smooth out this color, because again, I don't want to go overboard with the water here. Trying to keep in one direction, which is a lot harder than you think. I'm so used to just kind of not doing this that it's hard to make sure I'm going in the same direction each time. So it does take some practice. So now we're going to do her head, and we're going to go again with the highlighting here. Just medium pressure around her hair. And then we're going to come back in with the ginger, fill that in. And again, I'm only using medium pressure to fill this in. I'm just going to put a drop or two of water here so that I can essentially blend her face. Trying to keep it all in one direction. Notice I said keyword trying to keep it all in one direction. Get her ear. Takes a little bit of the spots I found down here. I don't need a whole lot of water. And like I said, this does dry really quick, so like her face is pretty much almost dry. Isn't she turning out adorable? I love it. All right, so now we're gonna do her hair. But I don't wanna just do like, you know, yellow or whatever. I am gonna do her little stars and moon though. Her stars are gonna be yellow. Like her bustier or her little bathing suit top there. But I'm not going to make them like a really dark yellow. I'm just going to do like a pale yellow. So very light pressure being added here. And then her moon. I want her hair to be coral and salmon pink. And I'm just picking colors at random. I don't have anything in particular in mind. So for the dark color, for the salmon, we're just going to do some highlighting here. So on all the super dark areas, I'm going to use this salmon with the medium pressure. All the dark shaded areas, I'm going to use this salmon pink, and then I'll go over all of it with the coral. And you can also use the lines that the artist gives you. A lot of the times the artist gives you these lines in hair. You can use those as points of where to highlight. And I don't want to burnish it, which is the color really hard, and make it kind of like a give it like a wax over look. I'm just going to do it real medium, real nice, so that it blends nicely together. It's hard. From my experience, it's hard to blend when you varnish your paper. So I like to do a medium pressure whenever I do hair. So all these dark lines are going to get a little bit of this color. And this is the salmon pink. Just going to give it a little bit more highlighting. I wanted to sharpen it because there's a fine area right here that I want to get. All right, so I think we're about done with the highlights. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go in with our coral color and we're going to fill in the rest. And I'm also using a medium pressure with the coral. And I think instead of using the water on the hair, we're just going to leave the hair looking a little bit more textured with the color pencil. You can also, if you want to use your main color as a highlight, you can just add a little bit heavier pressure. So say you use a light pressure for the main and you want to use the same color to highlight, you would just use a heavier pressure to get the highlights. At least that's how I do it. I know there's other ways to do it, and if you have a wide range of color, why not use another color? But sometimes I'll use the same color and just use different pressures to get the highlighting that I want. As you can see, they blend really, really good. There we have that. And then let's fill in her moon. Let's make her moon. I don't want to make it, I want to make it as a dull color, so we're going to use the apricot. I'm going to use this apricot to fill in the moon. Just to give it like a peachy color, almost. Just a medium pressure there. And then we'll use this yellow to kind of blend in with it. Kind of make it stand out a little bit. And I will use a little bit of water up here to push that color around so it blends together really nice. And then for her fin, we're just going to use parakeet green and matcha. I want to say it's matcha. So we're going to do the dark colors first. you have her, folks. Isn't she adorable? I love how she turned out. So, you guys, the Arteza 120 watercolor pencils. If you have not gotten them yet, go ahead and get them. I, of course, will have I'm going to try to have the UK link and the US link down below. If I can't find it for the UK, I will at least have the US link for them down below. I think you're going to get bang out of your buck for this. Look how beautiful that turned out. The highlights and everything, and then blending it together to give it a smooth finish. Like, I absolutely love how that turned out. So thank you to the folks over at Arteza for sending these over for me to review. I give them 2 big old thumbs up. I absolutely love them. Do keep in mind, I'm not an expert at watercolor. Literally, like, this is like maybe my 3rd or 4th time even touching watercolor. So that's how easy it is to use watercolor. And this is just like a basic beginner's watercolor. So, or for me it is. I'm giving like a basic tutorial on it because I only know the basics. So with that said, folks, if this is something that you'd be interested in, of course, again, I will link it down below. Do keep in mind that any links that I provide, I will make a small commission, so thank you in advance if you do use those links. Also, don't forget to use Crochet and Coffee 5 to save yourself 10% off your purchase. Happy shopping. And with that said, folks, if you're new to the channel and like to see more random videos just like this one, please feel free to hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified anytime I randomly decide to put up a video. And believe me, it's random. But with that said, folks, I'm now going to have to bid you adieu. But not before reminding you, like I always try to be kind, be courteous, be cool. Bye, guys.